Hi, we're almost coming to the end of this day and now we have a triplet. Coming from Ukraine, we have now our friends, the great Nazary Mikhailyuk, his father Bogdan, and their fellow dentist Anatoly Tokar. Dr. Mikhailyuk graduated from Ivano-Frankivsk Dental Academy in Ukraine in 2008. He specializes in microdentistry, mostly indirect restorations, and practices at his family practice, the dental clinic of Mikhailyuk Oral Design Center in Ukraine. Nazary is official trainer of Carl Zeiss Dental Academy, DSD lecturer, and co-founder of the Microvision Group. From his side, Bogdan is a ceramist from Ukraine. He is a Microvision Lab founder and member of Oral Design International Group. His main focus is minimally invasive restorations and digital dentistry. And finally, Anatoly is the young generation of the Microvision Group and focuses as well in minimally invasive dentistry. All three will lecture about analog versus digital dentistry and will give us their way of managing modern dentistry through the digital era. I'm really looking forward for their lecture. See you in some hours.
Dear friends, my name is Nazary and for me it's a great pleasure to be able to present for you the workflow of M-Vision team and basically to share with you experience how we do dentistry in our office and maybe some details that you can use in your daily practice. With this short video I would like to start my presentation. This is how our clinic looks. Photo video studio for sure, try and follow the all modern protocols of working with the patients, having magnification, working with the microscopes, as you can see, as well with the rubber dam, using the scanners, the digital dentistry. And today we're going to speak a lot about this. We're going to speak about the progress of dentistry, the benefits of digital, the minuses of digital, the benefits of analog, the minuses of analog. Because, there are lots of details that need to be learned. This is the point. Everything always looks very simple on slides, but behind that there is lots of work. There are some failures, there is some success. And in the end of the story, we need to create a proper workflow that can help us to accomplish high-quality dentistry, combining microscopic dentistry and also digital dentistry. The topic will be today digital versus analog. I think it's a very hot topic because many people are questioning, should we move digital or maybe we can just stay analog? Will analog disappear in future or it will be present? Will digital take away our job and the machines will do everything? Or we still need a human being like dental technician or dentist? All these questions are very interesting usually now around the world because when we travel, this is what people ask us. And people ask us, what do you think about this? And I will try to answer these questions today during my presentation. I hope you're going to enjoy it. So before I start, I would also like to discuss this question. Many people are thinking, is digital like progress versus art? Because we all are used to the layering, creating the beauty only with the layering, the ceramics. I think it's mostly a combination. It's a combination with the progress and the art part. Once you're able to combine both, then you can win and benefit from this. And this is the point. Also, I will discuss why I made this decision actually to move digital. Why I didn't stay analog, even though we had quite nice results because we have a strong lab. We have good ceramics in the end of the story. So why we did this choice, you will find out today. But before I start, I would like to introduce myself. So my name is Nazary. I graduated in 2010. I'm from Ukraine. I live in the western part of Ukraine in the city called Ivano-Frankivsk. It's a small place, not a huge city. So at the beginning, I was afraid it's going to be difficult, to make a high-quality dentistry in such a small place. But then I thought, okay, I know some people who are managing doing this in small places. So if they can, I think we can try doing this as well. So nowadays, we also have patients like coming from abroad, from different cities, to perform their treatment in our clinic. Also, from 2010, we are focused on using magnification in our daily workflow. So we're using microscope on every step of the treatment. Why? Not because it's fashionable or just cool, but because it really raises the level of our clinical work. And for us, it's a typical protocol. So it doesn't matter if we do prosthetics, as you can see right now on the screen, or we do direct restoration, or maybe we do endodontics. All of my doctors in the clinic are using magnification. Why? Because if you see better, it means that you can actually treat better. But it would be quite difficult, to be a good clinician, especially when I'm focused in prosthetics, because this is my main focus. I'm doing aesthetics, prosthetics, also I'm doing on implants and full mouth reconstructions. So different times, starting from different things, starting from non-invasive dentistry in prosthetics and finishing with the prosthetics on implants. So it's difficult to be a good clinician when there is no good technician. That's, it's better than me, And for me, it's a very interesting experience because every dentist can change the dental technician, but I cannot change mine because mine is my father. That's the point. And I don't want to do it because he's really good one and he's very open to change himself. So starting from metal ceramics, then going to free metal, and now he is doing also the digital. And this is very good because often people are afraid to lose their comfort zone. But now when we speak about the digital, we also need to have a very, very strong team. The team who knows how to use the software, the team who has knowledge as a dental technician and can transfer that knowledge to the software. Because feeling yourself 3D on a plain screen is not that easy. So that's why we had this learning curve, having some failures, breaking ceramics, bad emergency profile, not a good precision at the beginning, and then we were testing, milling, printing, designing, until the time when we got the results that we like. The results that I can look under a microscope and I can say, yes, this is good, I can bond this, I know precision is good, and I know that the quality is not worse, for sure, than the analog, or even better. And we will discuss this as well. That's why, again, team is very important when we speak about digital dentistry. Just want to tell you a few words about the structure of our company, of our brand. We have separately Envision Clinic, we have separately Envision Lab that actually does all the digital stuff, and we have Envision Study Resort that I'm going to speak about it later. So the clinic looks like this. We have 3 dental chairs. It's not a huge clinic because I like usually to control the quality. When we have too many dental chairs, it's quite tough to control the quality. We have 3, so we feel totally comfortable. We have many specialists from different countries come to our office to do perio, people like Venceslav Stankov, Eric Van Doren, Gustavo Giordani, like Stavros Pelikanos and others. So we are very happy to be able to cooperate with all these cool superstars, let's say like this. What I would like to say that nowadays dentistry is actually a mixture of knowledge. So if many years ago it was enough just to know how to do properly a filling or how to do properly a root canal, nowadays it's not enough. We need to understand how to take proper pictures. We need to know how to take proper impressions, how to work with the models, what's going on in the lab. So lots of things, and only in the end of the story we can be as a good dentist, and this is the point. So this is what we're going to talk about today. But before I start to speak about digital dentistry, the pure digital dentistry, of course we did lots of analog. We did different cases. Started with the cases like this one, when we have a girl, the patient, who came to the office. She has a diastema and she doesn't like it. She wants to correct it. We take some portrait pictures, we make some videos, definitely because we like to work with the digital patients. Because what I mean when I say digital patient, when the patient leaves the office, we forget information quite fast. In this way, when we have pictures, videos, we remember all that stuff, and anytime I can open the folder with the patient and I can proceed with the pictures, videos, just to remember what was going on. So I just go ahead, I continue with the digital design, digital smile design, or introduced by Christian Coachman, as you know. And we go ahead and we plan how we're going to close the diastema. I'm going to add mesially to one central, another central, but also we would like to elongate slightly. Why? Because if we just go ahead and close centrals, and this is going to be a problem because it's not going to look centrals, and this is going to be a problem because it's not going to look nice at all, not going to look natural. So we see we have a slight little bit aware of the incisal edge, and we discuss this with the patient, and we decide actually to go ahead and slightly to elongate the incisal edges. So as a result, we're going to have 85% of the tooth proportion, as you can see basically on the screen right now. So after finishing this design, this plan, we go ahead and we put it in a Dropbox folder so we can share this information again with the dental technician. And it doesn't matter where he is. He can be in US, he can be in Ukraine, he can be in South Africa, any country. Because of the digital technology, we can really quickly share a multimedia information and to have this perfect communication. And then we have another question. Should we go ahead and be invasive in this case? Should we prep something? Or maybe we can just be additional. Many people are saying, okay, when you use ceramics, you're very invasive, but you need to use composite. I mean, I think it depends on the operator. You can be invasive with the composite and you can be invasive with the ceramics. You can be very minimally invasive with the composite and you can be very minimally invasive with the ceramics. So in this case, we decided not to take any steps with the preparation, just to go ahead, make the retraction. As you can see on the video, I was using double core techniques. So first 3-0, then 2-0 on top of it, waited 4 minutes, I removed it. I'm using the silicone material. I took the impression, check it with a magnification, as you can see right now. And after this, when I know that everything is good, I can continue with the lab steps. Lab is a very important place because it doesn't matter how good we are in the clinic, if we don't have a strong backup in the lab, we fail. And this is definitely the truth. So what they do? First, they fabricate the Willy-Geller model, and also they do the wax up according to our digital plan as we planned on the previous slide, as you saw. So my dental technician designs the final restorations. Of course, my 2D planning as a DSD is not perfect. It's just a path that I'm showing to my dental technician, basically how I would like, more or less, to have my restorations in the end of the story. And then he has the model that is actually 3D. He makes the wax up, and then following the wax up, he goes ahead, he makes a Willy-Geller model with the soft gum, because we're going to start the veneers from inside the sulcus, because we're going to push the papilla in between, and then he starts basically fabricating veneers. And we have a question, I mean, like, which kind of material should we use to make these ultra thin veneers? And we prefer to use the feldspathic restorations, but then again we have two questions. Feldspathic restorations can be done in two ways. So we can do it with the platinum foil technique, or we can do it actually layered on a refractory. Which one to use? When we speak about ultra thin veneers, like in this case, we prefer to use a platinum foil technique. Because in this case, we will have a really ultra thin veneers that I'm going to show you in a few seconds. So as you can see on the video, my father Bogdan Mikhailuk goes ahead and layers the restorations very carefully. He needs to know in advance which ceramics to use, because he has to transfer from very transparent layer on the surface of a veneer to go to more opacious in the proximals to block the light, because otherwise it can also look grayish if you use not proper ceramics mesially on these two centrals. So this is how the process goes on, and after this we go ahead and we receive the final veneers. So just like I said, we have a transparent zone in the center, and then when we go more mesially, we have a more opacious zone of a veneer. So that now I can get ready to the bonding procedures, and I go ahead, I proceed with the isolation, and you understand that with these type of veneers, you have to be just crazy careful, because if you push something, it's gonna break really fast, and instead of one veneer, you're gonna have 5, and that's not good. So I was using the heavy rubber dam in this case. As you can see, I tied with the floss, we made the inversion, and now the rubber dam is in the sulcus, so I moved away the gum as well, and now I'm able to insert those veneers. But what's very important, before we start any kind of bonding, we need to check the insertion path, because if I bond the right one, the left one may not go in anymore, or opposite. So that's why we have to check this with a dental technician, and if there is some special sequence, we need to ask him. This is the point. Also, when we do this kind of procedure, this bonding, I usually do this one by one. I don't bond them together. Why? Because if you push the proximal of one of the veneer, you can really have a problem. So again, I go ahead, as you see, I proceeded with the isolation. I also perform a sandblasting because there was none of preparation. And what we need to do, we need to remove a non-prismatic enamel layer to improve the adhesion of the veneer to the surface of the enamel. To protect neighbor teeth, I'm using a Teflon tape, as you can see, on the two lateral incisors. To protect from what? To protect from adhesive. This is what I mean, because during these procedures you can have adhesive and some cement on the surface of a neighbor tooth. Then you need to invest your time, to clean everything, to break a contact, and sometimes, it's really annoying and takes a long time. So I prefer just to protect the neighbor teeth, and then just to remove a Teflon, go with the floss, and feel fully safe, So I bonded one veneer. As you can see, I was using adhesive on the surface of the veneer, the adhesive on the surface of the ceramics, and then I just go ahead and I polish the transition zone from the ceramics to the veneer. After I'm done, then I try with the probe. I know that there is no interference, on this transition. I go ahead, I layer the adhesive on the surface of another central. I use air. Why? Because the adhesive is actually very filled adhesive. So if you have a lot of it, first of all, it can influence the color. I had some troubles when I was bonding veneers. It was too much adhesive, and then it was yellowish. So we want to have a thin layer of adhesive, both on ceramics and also on the two surfaces. Then I put some Variolink on the surface of veneer, clean everything maximum, as you can see, and then carefully light cure. I light cure a little bit first, I clean, and then I continue light curing the rest. And after, if I still have any excess of composite, you will see I will just go ahead. You can use the curette, you can use the blade, you can use whatever you like, sometimes even metrics for the proximal zones. Here I was using also the polishing instruments for composite to polish this transition from a tooth to the ceramic restoration. So the gum will not have any reason for inflammation after I finalize this case right here. Then we check with the microscope. We can see it's nice precision, and then I can just move on. So let's just go through really quickly what we've done. We isolated, sandblasting, etching, and bonding. Usually this type of case would take me maybe 1 hour and a half to finalize everything, so it's not too long. So after 1 year, after bonding, this is how our patient looks. Nice smile. We close the diastema in between the teeth. You can see it closer in the mouth. So after 1 year, the soft tissue looks beautiful. We don't have any inflammation. We can see that the black triangle between the teeth is almost closed. We have just a tiny small spot, and I'm sure like in a few more months it's gonna close fully. We can see that the restorations look quite natural. This is why I like full aesthetics, and I love what my father is doing with this. He's really artistic guy, let's say like this. Then another angle. And what's important for me is to control always with the big magnification. So when I see that with the big magnification I don't have any kind of inflammation, then I'm happy. That it means we did a great job and the patient is brushing, because even though we can do a good job and if the patient is not going to look after it, it's going to fail. I'm always saying it's like, buying a car. If you buy a nice car and then you go somewhere on the bad road, you're going to destroy it in a few days. It doesn't matter how expensive is the car. Same story about dentistry. I'm trying to teach my patients to be very good with the hygiene, because otherwise, doesn't matter if we work with a microscope, which materials we use, if we have a good technician, it's gonna fail in the end of the story. And the portrait picture of our patient before we started and after we finished. So you can see even 2 little veneers can change the way how the person looks in the end of the story. So we did, as you can see, small cases with the analog approach, but also we did many big cases, like this one over here. Look at the patient came with this difficult smile, let's say like this. She was really suffering because of it. She had some teeth missing, as you can see on the panoramic view. We had to extract lateral incisor as well because there was a crack of a root. and we needed to perform the crown lengthening. So it was a really tough case that was going on almost a year, let's say like this. So we went on with the surgery, to cut some bone, to bring those zeniths of the two centrals and laterals to a better level. And after we perform a preparation with the microscope, as you can see on the picture on the right side, and that was quite tough. I can say this was one of the toughest cases that I've done in my life. After this, you can see this is how we formed the soft tissue in the zone where we did a crown lengthening. We also put some implants in the distal zones. We shaped the emergency profile just to have this natural look of the final crowns that look like they are natural teeth that are growing out of these implants. Let's say like this. Also, you can see the overlay preparation for the molar on the left side of the screen. And just to show you before and after, this is how we started with the case, and this is how we finalized. And probably this is why I love so much prosthetic dentistry, because with the pros, you can really change people, you can really make these smile upgrades, and it brings you joy. It brings joy to you and also to your patients, because you can see right away the result. This is how we started, and this is how we finished. And the intraoral pictures show us we have quite nice integration of the ceramic restorations. Even close-up view shows us that we don't have any kind of inflammation. Why? Because it's all about precision. I say when you have a precise work, it's going to work good, because there is no reason to work differently. This is the point. And our patient, before and after. Yes, I truly believe that smile really changes people. This is definitely true. So again, we just showed you two examples of a small case, just with the two veneers going analog, and also another analog case when we had to do a full mouth reconstruction with implants, making this big change for a patient, a long case. But if you ask me what is the next step in dentistry after this analog, and next step is actually to try copy nature as much as possible. Because what we are doing all our life, and all the dental technicians, we're usually trying to copy the nature. And when we are doing the layering and all the other stuff, again, it's a try. And according to Paolo Cano, on average, dental technicians can design 3 different designs of centrals. Top dental technicians maybe can do 5 designs of centrals. But so it means that every 5th case or every 3rd case, you actually have a copy of a previous patient. So every 3rd patient has the same centrals. And it's not because the dental technician is better or something. No, it's because it's just his signature. This is the point. It's just the way how we write on paper. We have some kind of a signature that we copy. We can try to do something different, but in the end of the story, the style is one. So what is the next step in dentistry? I think 2 things. The first one is actually robotics in dentistry. We became one of the 5 clinics in the world who started to use microscope and the robot together. So what we can do nowadays with the DDA, dental dynamic arm, that was first introduced by a doctor from Portugal, Nuno Sousa Dias, who is a famous orthodontist and a very good orthodontist. First, we started to use DDA together with the video camera. So we have a traction system and tracking system that can actually follow the face of the patient, as you can see right now on this video right over here. Also, we can connect with DDA the microscope, as you can see, the microvision microscope that we usually use, and this is definitely the future. I am sure you will find out more information soon, probably next year, when we show it more to the market. But this is going to be a game-changing thing, definitely. It's like having the assistant that can work 24/7, full day, without getting tired. And of course, digital dentistry. This is again now the hot topic, as I told you, that everyone is speaking about. And for us, it became a great change about a year ago when we actually started to implement digital dentistry in our daily workflow.
8 years ago, when we started.
Yeah, so this is what I'm saying in the video, that 8 years ago we started to use basically the microscopic dentistry, and we understood that actually this is the only way to have a high quality stuff done. This is the point, because you see everything so precise, and you can have a magnification up to 23 times, so you understand that all the details are under your control. But but the time moves on. And now we have this digital dentistry coming. And things like scanning, printing, and milling, they were like something special for people many years ago. But nowadays, it's a present reality. This is what we do on the daily workflow. Why? Because it gives us many benefits. So we try to combine this technology, the microscopes, the digital dentistry. We also share the knowledge worldwide. We have these courses, so combining the microscopic dentistry together with the digital dentistry, with the live patients, with the phantom courses, the hands-on. I'm sure this is definitely the future. The combination of microscopic dentistry and the digital dentistry. So now I would like to share with you actually the way how we do this. What do we need for the digital dentistry? Probably three things. For the office, we need the scanner. For the lab, we need the printer and the CAD/CAM machine. And probably the real digital revolution mostly happens not even in the dental clinic, but it happens in the dental lab mostly. This is the point. So let's have a look actually how it looks, on a real clinical case. So we have this patient coming to the office and she didn't like her maxilla, the teeth on the maxilla, because she has so many composites. Also she has the metal ceramic crowns, and she wanted to upgrade her smile to have a better shape and of course to have a better color. And here we have a close-up view. We also can see that almost all teeth are involved. Everywhere you can see the composites. The frontal teeth are full composite, as you can see. There's like composite crowns, let's say like this. And what would we usually do? When the patient comes to the office, we would usually go ahead, we take some pictures in the studio, as you all know perfectly. And then we would take the patient to a dental chair and we would go ahead and start taking the impression. But if you ask any patient, there is no one who likes taking the impressions. You take this tray full of silicone, you insert in the mouth. Now it's slightly different. Now what we do, we take our 3Shape scanner, we go ahead, we calibrate first, the color, we calibrate also the precision. Usually takes us maybe like 1 minute to do it all, so it's quite quick. We use the Optrogate from Ivoclar, and then we go ahead and we scan. First we scan the lowers. Usually to scan everything it's maybe 1 minute for the lowers, and then maybe it's maximum 1 minute for the upper teeth. We have this computer with a touch screen where we can actually correct everything, and the scanner is quite fast, so it doesn't take you a while. There is of course a learning curve how you should scan properly, because it's not just moving like intraoral camera. You must know the sequence and the step-by-step scanning. Otherwise your scanning may be not precise. So it's very, very important to know the workflow. After the scan is done, you have two ways of workflow. You can either work inside of your practice, having like a small dental lab, so you can have a small milling machine. So like cases like crowns or maybe short bridges, veneers, and onlays, you can actually mill in-house. This is the point. But if you speak about like big cases, you speak about temporaries, you speak about maybe partial removable dentures, you speak about full mouth or full arch reconstruction, then you just go ahead and you send your scan to the lab. And if your lab is in US, if your lab is in Europe, if your lab is in Asia or South America or Africa, it doesn't matter. Because when you take the impression and you want to send it far, you're worried about the temperature, about the timing, when it's going to get to the lab. Plenty of problems. You know it better than me. This is the point. And when you have a scanner, you scan, you push one button, and in 2 minutes, your scan is in any part of the world. Precisely done. Temperature is not influencing it, and also the distance doesn't influence. So it's really nice. It's really cool. So once the lab receives actually your scan, now there is another question to perform a design. And now we have this interesting discussion. We were asking many dental technicians, how long does it take you guys to learn a proper wax up? Answers were different, but most is from 5 to 10 years, depending on the experience of a dental technician, and usually older was the dental technician, a longer time it would take. This is what they said. And when we speak about the digital stuff, to teach a CAD designer to do this stuff, you need 2 months. In 2 months, a CAD designer knows actually how to perform a digital wax up. So again, we have 5-10 years versus 2 months. So now we have this benefit actually from the digital technology. Of course, it's really good if your dental technician, your CAD designer has knowledge with the analog approach. Then he can use his knowledge from the analog world in a digital world. And I think this is the best combination. So we go to the software, we use the dental system from the 3Shape, and you can go ahead to the library and you can choose so many different shapes of teeth. And we told you that when we are using the hand way to layer, then we actually have just few designs of centrals. But when you do in the digital stuff, you can have unlimited libraries. And this is what's really amazing. You can have 100 libraries, you can have few hundred libraries. So imagine you do few hundred cases and your design, never repeats. Because every patient that you scan in your clinic can become your library. Plus, it's a great benefit for the patient. Why? Because they can save their teeth if they are intact. And if something happens to their teeth in future, they can come back to your clinic and you can just use their library to restore exactly same shapes of the teeth as the patient had in the past. So this is really amazing. We don't need to try to copy something. We can just mill exact copy that the patient had in his mouth. So we don't need to try to copy nature. We can just try to reproduce nature. And I think nowadays this is an amazing chance for us, because also it saves our time. Because to wax up a full arch, most dental technicians would say that it would take them from 3 hours to a full day, again, depending on dental technician. When we speak about the digital approach, like the one that you see right now, usually it takes a dental technician 1 hour, maximum 1 hour 30 minutes, and the digital wax up is done. So again, when we have 3 hours one day and we have 1 hour, we already have a win in time. This is the point. So now we're trying to receive the first answers. Why we need a digital dentistry? Because it saves our time. Also, while the design is being done, we're able to use our cell phone to control all this. So basically, going to the 3Shape software on the cell phone, I can see what's going on in the lab, in the design. I can also actually write some comments, so we can have this communication. It doesn't matter if I'm in Ukraine or I'm abroad, maybe traveling or giving a lecture or whatever, it doesn't matter. I can just go to the software and easily just write comments and communicate with my lab. Guys, really, it brings the communication level to the whole new level, to the new possibilities, and this is really, really amazing. Now when I ask my guys from the lab, guys, would you actually turn back to analog? Everybody says like, no. Even though I remember this thing when we first met the guy from 3Shape and he was explaining this workflow with the digital, and my dental technicians were asking, but how do you do a Willy Geller model? And the guy said, oh, wait, you push next. They say like, what do you mean push next? We were like learning this stuff many years, to make a nice Willy Geller. And they say, okay, but how do you do separate dies for them? And they say, okay, but how do you do separate dies for them? And they say, okay, but how do you do separate dies for them? Push next. And I see my guys from the lab are just standing shocked, like I was joking, almost crying, like, are you serious, man? We were learning this for so many years and now you're telling us to push next. But yes, this is true. This is called progress, guys. Everything has a progress, and it's always better to learn progress, not to fight the progress, because anyway, sooner or later, all of us will come to the digital world. And I'm always saying there are two ways how we can come there. Either because we want it, or either the market will make us. This is the point. And it's always better if we do it because we want it. So what I do, I ask my dental technician to design 10 units digitally, as you just saw on the video. But additionally, what I'm asking them to do is to design a guide of preparation. So now what we can do, we can just use a special guide to control our reduction. So we don't need to use anymore the silicone, because right on top you can see there is like a digital wax up right now on top of the teeth of the patient, and this is going to be a final shape, as you all know. Now we are going to use the appliance designer to design the appliance to control the reduction. So usually I'm asking my dental technician, you can do either 1 mm or 2 mm thickness. So first step, what he does, he trims the model, As you can see, it's already trimmed nicely. And then he goes ahead and he follows the margins of the teeth. We have to make sure that the appliance will sit passively and precisely. So after finishing my preparation, I can put it in the patient's mouth and then I can check the reduction. I mean, basically you're going to see it just in a few seconds. Now the question is, how long does it take to do this? It doesn't take long. Maybe it's just like maybe 40 minutes, half an hour, 40 minutes maximum, and it's designed. So we have 1 hour to design a digital except. We have 30 minutes to design the appliance. What happens next? Just after design is done, my dental technician just sends it to the printer. And if in the past we had to work with the hands to make the models, nowadays the file is being sent and the printer does the work. This is the point. You can choose different precision, 100 microns, 50 microns, or 25 microns. For the mock-up, 100 microns is fully enough. Now the question, how long does it take to print? Okay, well, on average maybe just like 2 hours. This is the point. So let the machines work. Now you can finally relax. I was always saying that now my father finally has time to go to the gym or to go to the teacher to learn English better. In the past it was only work in the lab. The purpose, again, of this digital dentistry is to save time, to raise the production level, to keep the quality, and to have time to enjoy life. This is the point. So after this is basically done, we were using the Luxatem from DMG. We transferred this bisacrylic to patient's mouth. What we actually have, now we have a possibility to show a patient, look, this is how you're gonna look in the end of the story. People want to know this. They don't want to guess. They don't want to hope. They want to know how they're gonna look in the end of the story, and we give them this possibility actually with the mock-up. We don't want to show the margin or something like this because this is not the point. The point is to show how the smile overall is going to change in the end of the story. So the next step, we go ahead and now we got the agreement from a patient, and now we can start basically the clinical steps. And what was interesting, when the patient came to the office basically to do the preps, I transferred the mock-up, and the central just broke with the mock-up, look, because it was fully composite. So then I had to remember one more time the way I was doing endo in the past. So I isolated with the rubber dam. I like to use the blue one because it's really comfortable for the eyes. And then I go ahead, I start preparing the root canal. So I clean up everything. I'm using the diamond burrs from my kit for full crown preparation. And then I just go ahead and remove these carriers, this not nice tissue. I put some Teflon tape because now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do the sandblasting because I want to improve the retention actually on the surface of a tooth. So I'm just using sandblasting with the water. I remove the Teflon tape. I like to use the Aqua Care to sandblast. And then I'm using the orthophosphoric acid to etch inside of the root canal and on the surface. What I do next, I'm going to clean up everything nicely. Okay, I'm going to dry, of course, inside of the root canal. And then I need to build up. Before I build up, I'm using Teflon tape just to protect neighbor teeth. Not to have this adhesive, just like you saw in my previous cases. Always, I like to use the Teflon tape, Takes me not so much time to put it in place, but it works very, very well. Now I'm using actually the adhesive on the surface of the tooth, and then I'm going to use the Luxacore. First I'm using Luxabond, and then I'm going to use the Luxapost and the Luxacore to restore. I like to use the materials from one line. In the past I was combining different adhesive with the Luxacore. It didn't work so good. Once I started using Luxabond, now I don't have those white lines when you light cure and you see this debonding on the other stuff. So I put Luxacore inside of the root canal, then I put the Luxapost, and I go ahead with this material all around, as you can see. I'm not light curing right away because I don't want to have a C factor. I'm letting the material set for about 3-4 minutes, so not touching it. And then I'm just going to use the burr 1.0 from the crown preparation kit, because in the end of the story I want to have a 0.5 millimeter margin, just for my full ceramic restorations. And this will be totally enough. We're trying to be minimally invasive as much as possible, even though it's a core composite case in this for this tooth. Also using the mirror to check the palatal side during preparation, and just finishing with some silicone tips, to have this better geometry all around. And this is how it looks. Very comfortable to work with rubber dam during the preparation because you can see all the margins, no risk of bleeding or something like this. Once the build-up is done, now we are ready to move on with the preparation of the rest of the teeth. I made myself two kits that I'm using. One of them is called the preparation set. It's for the full crowns. You can see it on the right side. And another one is microvision kit. As you can see, both of them are from company Comet. They are very simple to use. You have two kits with the 10 burrs in each. You have three sizes of the burrs for the full crowns preparation: 1 mm, 1.4, 1.6. This is for the full ceramic crown. The second one is for the Emax and also zirconium, and 1.6 is for the metal ceramic. So you have margin 0.5, 0.7, and 0.8. On the left side here you can see the microvision kit, and you can see the two depth cutters, 1.8 and 2.0. They give you a depth cut 1.3 and then 0.4 millimeters, and you use them in a combination with a 1.2 and 1.6 burrs, depending which depth cutter you were using. And then you're using another 4 burrs on the left side. They are for the inlays, onlays, overlays. The protocol is very simple. The kits are very understandable, so I recommend you to use them. They are from Comet again. So we don't recommend to use turbine because you don't have enough torque. On the opposite side, we recommend you to use actually the 1 to 5 handpiece with electric motor, because then you're going to have a stable torque during your preparation. And of course, to finalize all the preps with enamel chisels. We made these chisels with a company from Switzerland called Doppler. I truly believe this is the company that produces the top level of the instruments. Now, the steel quality of the chisels is amazing. They last so long. And we have our own line of instruments from this company. It's called NM line. So we have NM1, NM2, and NM3 chisels. Now we produce also NM0. This is a chisel for the veneers preparation. These three that you can see right now on the screen, they are for the full crowns preparation. Now also we have the M-Vision Kiss for the prosthodontics. I mean, if you guys are interested, just go ahead to the Doppler website and you can find all that information. Why those chisels are so important? Because it's proven, it's evidence-based, that the smooth preparation appears really to enhance the fit of restorations. More precise the margin, more precise are the final restorations. And of course, we need to remember about the perfect preparation rules. We need to understand where exactly we want to position the final margin. Subgingival, equigingival, supergingival. Ultramatic preparation. No trauma of soft tissue we want. No. We need to control everything visually, because if you don't see, you don't prep. This is, of course, the rule. And, of course, to be as minimally invasive as possible in each clinical case, finalizing the preps with the silicone tips, just to make this, shapes really smooth. So what I did, again, I transferred the mock-up, as you can see. I went on with the depth cuts on the surface of the teeth, so just to know exactly how much I need to cut. We have all those old composites that we for sure are gonna change, because it's not reliable. We don't know what's going on under those composites. And then carefully under a microscope, we remove these composites you can see right now with the curette. And also, my plan was not to prep the teeth, but just to cut off basically the composite. Maybe in some spots to prep with the teeth. We have caries. Almost on each proximal there was a caries. So mostly we had to break the contacts everywhere. Again, under full control of microscope, we are creating the margins. Different margins from 0.2 to 0.5 millimeters, depending on the tooth and depending on the restoration. Keeping away the mirror as much as possible, not to have that much water, just removing the sharp corners, as you can see, creating these nice shapes for our teeth. We didn't devitalize any teeth. I mean, we did endo only where there was endo before, as you can see. Then again, look, excess of this composite. Guys, be careful when you use composite. Use magnification not to have this trouble, as we see right here on this video. Preparation time usually takes us about 3 hours. So in 3 hours we do the build-ups, and also we do all the preps, and we finalize with the provisionals. So it's not that long. What do we do next? Once we finalize with the preps, we're using this guide, as I told you before, the perio probe, and we check. Yes, we check how much we reduced No need to use the silicone anymore. Once the prep is done, this is right after preparation. You can see it right away here on this picture. We go ahead and we don't need to take impressions anymore. We just use the scanner. It's really fast. Why I like using the scanner? Because also it shows me my quality of preparation. You know, when we take the impression or when we look with our eyes, we think, wow, we're so good. There's always step to be better. And scanner helps us a lot. It's like a teacher, you know. When we scan, we can also magnify because it's like a vector format and it doesn't lose the quality. So we can scan the bites, we can scan the teeth. In the software, I can basically check my preparation. If I see that there is some undercut or some problem, I can erase it in the scan, and then I can improve the preparation of the tooth and scan this tooth again. Imagine if I was supposed to do this analog way. I would have to prep the tooth again, then I would need to retract again and take impression again. Well, guys, you know how long it takes better than me, because you know all this retraction patient never enjoys, and with the scanner there is no impression, there is no bad feelings for the patient. And dentistry, you know, people don't like dentistry because usually it brings pain and bad experience. What we need to do, we need to change this experience of the patients. Once the scan is done, we usually send it to the lab. But before we send it to the lab, of course, now we take a silicone and make the provisionals using the bisacrylic. We finalize with the provisionals, then we go ahead and we continue in the lab. But you know, for us it's always a problem to copy a mock-up, I mean the wax up that we do analog way, to the final restorations. Sometimes we manage to do it better, sometimes it's not that easy. With a digital world, it's a whole different story. The design already is done during the planning phase, and we're using exactly the same design, exactly the same library to make the final restorations. After we transfer the file to the milling machine, we're using M-Press, as you can see from Evoclar, because we like M-Press Multi, because it looks really aesthetic. We perform the milling usually 25 minutes per one restoration. Again, during milling, a dental technician can do whatever he wants. This is the point. Again, having more free time to invest your time in some different stuff. You want to do dentistry, you want to do something else. I mean, really, it's up to you. So after finishing, we would like also to say that it's a great benefit to be able to use articulators in the software, so we can check the guidance, anterior guidance, canine guidance. There is no problem with this at all. So then we have the final restorations milled, and now we have the final step. And what is the final step? It's actually a 3D staining. And this is what a dental technician must know how to do perfectly, because a 3D staining, what I usually call it, brings life to the final restorations. And now I'm really happy that my father was training a lot, you know, to learn how to do this 3D staining to improve the aesthetic view of the restorations. Now the question, how long do we stain? Not so long, you know. To perform a staining of 10 units, dental technician would need maximum 2 hours. 2 hours and it's done. Usually when you do the layering, it would take you maybe, you know, sometimes a full day. You can ask any dental technician. So I think the first people who should love digital dentistry should be dental technicians, because now they are able to produce the same quality of work, but being faster, being more predictable, and working less. So right after we receive already these final restorations, as you can see, after staining, fully monolithic, no grinding, no cutting, no layering, just a little 3D staining. So I receive a printed model with the final restorations, and I also receive another printed model with the guard, because this is the one that I'm going to give to the patient after I bond the final restorations. So this is the condition of the soft tissue right after the patient came with the provisionals. You know, I'm now going to remove these provisionals and start the bonding procedure using my DDA, using my microscope. Perfect. Patient is ready, fully relaxed, and now we can go ahead and take the restorations from the printed model. We can start isolating. We are removing our Luxatam provisionals. we mark the holes on the rubber dam, because we always bond with the isolation. This is crazy important because, you know, I want to control the leakage. Maybe there is no like evidence-based proofs that can say that rubber dam is better. But no, actually I don't need one. I tell you why. Because I can see clinically that for me it's more comfortable to work with the rubber dam. Why? Because it's really fast. You put rubber dam like in maybe 5-10 minutes maximum, and then you're fully relaxed. Because in my life I was bonding both, without rubber dam and with the rubber dam. So I know two sides of the story. So I can say you are more relaxed and it's more easygoing when you're using rubber dam. So this is probably what I would advise you guys to use in your daily practice as well. So we go ahead, we etch our ceramic restorations. We go ahead, we also etch the teeth. We sandblasted the composite inside of the mouth. Then we're using the adhesive system on the surface on both restoration and also the teeth. And now I'm ready to apply my Variolink into the restoration, not light curing. First I put the restorations in place like you can see on the video. I clean the excess and only after I usually light cure. Everything under control of microscope, very comfortable, away from the patient, having lots of time and controlling the precision. So that was the condition when we removed the provisionals. You can see it all looks quite nice. Many people questioning, are CAD/CAM restorations precise? My answer, yes they are, once you know the proper protocol. Again, everything starts and everything finishes with the protocol. We isolated, as you can see, we could easily visualize all the margins, so all the bonding process was very controlled. So guys, this is how we started with the case, as you remember, and this is how we finished. Fully monolithic, just a little staining, and this is it. This is case right after bonding, and this is case after a while. I believe it was like 10 months after we bonded. No, almost 1 year, yeah, that's correct. So everything that changed is that the papillas went a little lower. So now our restorations look even better. So look over here. There was the case before, there was the case right after, and here now in 1 second, yes, we're gonna have a case almost 1 year after. So the papillas went down. So look at this, look at that lateral, look at that canine. Those are really natural shapes, not done by a human, but copied from a natural tooth. And this, I think, is the main benefit that we receive from the digital dentistry. Soft tissue condition, close up with the microscope. Emergency profile, this is very important because at the beginning when we were starting, we often had over-contour. And over-contour is dangerous because, guys, you know better than me that you can have recession in future. So here we have the smile of the patient before and the smile of the patient after we finish the treatment with the monolithic restorations. This is the point. Here from this angulation you can see those effects that were created with the stains. And of course, our patient. Before the treatment, the portrait image, and after. Yes, fully monolithic restorations can change the patient smile, as you can see here. And nowadays, in our daily practice, we are using digital dentistry. Why? Because, guys, it's repeatable. It's repeatable, just like look at this case. First step, patient comes to the office. We take pictures, we collect all the information. Second stage, we scan the patient and we send the information to the lab and he does a digital wax up. Third step, we go ahead, we transfer the mock-up to the patient's mouth, bam, and we show it to the patient. Patient gives us agreement. Fourth step, we go ahead with the preparation with the microscope to be micro-invasive, to be maximum precise, as you can see on the video in the right lower corner. Then we go ahead with the fifth step. We scan again, we send information to the lab. In the lab, they are designing the final restorations. Then goes a sixth step, the milling process in the milling machine, fully automated. So whatever the CAD designer sends to the machine is milling. After the milling is done, we go for the next step, that is number 7, it's the 3D staining to bring life to the restorations. Bam, we are finished with the 3D staining, we continue then with the bonding. Use Optrogate, then we put the rubber dam, we isolate each tooth separately, we go ahead and we're done with the finished case. And of course, in the end of the story, with every patient, we can finalize our case with the positive emotions. We just go, to the studio to have some nice video, to have some nice photo shoot. We like to show our patients how they came and how they left the office, because quite often our patients, they quickly forget how they came. So we have to show them, look, that was before and that was after. This is how we actually managed to change your smile with a digital approach. And you know how long? 3 days. Nowadays, guys, you need 3 days to change patient's smile digitally. If we speak about full arch. If we speak about the full mouth reconstruction, 5 days. 5 days and you're done. And this is how the patient looks in the end of the story. The intraoral picture, all that you see on this picture, all this is ceramics. Full monolithic, minor staining, and looks quite natural with a nice integration. And of course, our patient. Before the treatment, please be focused on the smile, and after the treatment. And a little bit closer view from a different angle. And the final smile, the final portrait of the patient. So as you can see, digital dentistry brings new benefits. Benefits like saving time, benefits like to be able to be repeatable. We can do a wax-up, digital wax-up, and then we can exactly copy it to the final restoration. So what we plan is what we get in the end of the story. We also have a chance to control the quality of the clinical steps with the software. Also, we have a chance to save time in the lab, having the milling machine, having a printer, and also having the software. Guys, if you want to know more about both analog approach and the digital approach, this is where I would like to welcome you. We made our dream come true and we created the M-Vision Study Resort. So this is a study center that we have in the mountains in Ukraine.
We had a dream to create our own study center.
Yes, we really had a dream. So we can organize nice courses with all the modern equipment. As you can see, we have microscopes, we have phantoms, we have the intraoral scanners, we have all the handpieces to provide full clinical workflow. So guys, whatever you have in your clinic to work with the patient, we have it all also in our study center. I believe it's quite unique, and you can have full clinical experience. And we made it in our hotel in the mountains, to combine the pleasure time. We do skiing and snowboarding in winter. We go to the pool biking in summertime, because we want to have our course very nice and positive, combining learning process and relaxing. We work with the live patients, we work with the phantoms, our social program is always very nice. So again, it's a very, very nice experience. Actually, what are the benefits of the study center? Just one more minute of your time. Again, as I told you previously, we have 10 microscopes, we have the phantoms, we have all the hand pieces with the water, the suction, the assistant. So you work just like in a clinical condition. We have all the materials, we have the rubber dam, clamps. So we have M-Vision Masters program. So it's all about the prosthetic dentistry. You can visit and you can check it on our website that you can see on the left corner. You can see the programs, you can see the dates when it's going on. We go through all the protocol. So module 1 is actually planning. We call it Get It Started. So it's a photo, video, and occlusion, all about the planning. Module 2, it's all about the microscope dentistry and also dentistry prosthetics on implants. And module number 3, it's all about full mouth reconstruction microinvasive with the inlays, onlays, overlays, and veneers. All of the 3 modules are fully practical. You guys work from the morning till the evening with just little theory and demonstration from my side. All the rest, you work yourself. And of course, as I told you before, each course has 1 bonus day of vacation. 1 bonus day when we go to the pool, when we go to sauna, we go skiing, snowboarding, enjoying the mountains. Because this is the biggest ski resort in the Eastern Europe. Believe me, you will enjoy it. All the people who already came to us from so many countries, they never can come once. Once they come, they always return. But this is a real pleasure for us. We're happy that people enjoy. So you guys are also very welcome either to do analog courses or to do digital courses. Like for example, February 2023, we are going to have a full live patient digital protocol course. So first day, we do the scanning, we do the designing. The dental lab also shows what they do in the software, and I also do the preparation after doing the mock-up with the patient. So you see all the steps of the digital workflow from A to Z. No secrets, we are showing everything from the beginning to the end. Also, you prep, you scan, and you do the same protocol on the Phantom. So you not just watch, you do everything yourself from A to Z on the Phantom. Then my dental technician will also stain, and on the third day of the course, I'm going to bond 10 veneers to a patient that you also are going to watch fully live, isolation, bonding, and the final photo shoot. If you're interested, just go to the website. In February, we're going to have this amazing course. So to finalize my presentation, I would like to wish you, first of all, to enjoy what you're doing. It doesn't matter if you work digital, if you work with the analog way. Our profession is awesome. Why? Because we bring joy to people. We make people happy. We change their smiles, And we all know that first thing that you pay attention when you meet a person is basically the smile. Try to go to your goal. If it's digital dentistry, go there. But on the way, try to enjoy your every single day in dentistry. I would like to thank you for your attention. I hope you enjoyed my webinar. If you guys have any other questions, just go ahead to my Facebook page or Instagram, and you can write me a message, and I will really be glad and open to answer you. And of course, I'll be very glad to see you in Ukraine. Thank you for your time, and have a great evening. Bye from Ukraine.